Welcome to Beyond the Competition, the SAE University Programs Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Mike Sorg, the video and podcast producer with the SAE University Programs, and we got a great conversation for you guys for this month. But first with me is my co-host, as face and voice from the CDS Action News, Scott Schultz is with us.
That's a lot of energy for this intro. I'm not used to it. I'm happy to be here.
Deep in the season, and I have all the energy for you.
I'm happy to be here again.
It's
a surprise that I'm here.
And shout outs, you have our friends from Brazil, the FSAE live crew that were hanging out with us at Formula SAE here in recent weeks.
Yeah, I love those guys.
What a crew.
They're fun. They're cool.
You see the in-car stuff that they did during the stream. They were feeding us that from their equipment while we're doing the live stream over at SAE's University Programs YouTube account. That was really cool. We sent a feed over to them, and and who knows what they said about us there. So no, I always loved that crew. They always have great energy, and my crew loved hanging with them with Sidekick Media. So it was a really cool collaboration once again. In a different way than it was last year, but very, very cool. So
very cool.
Awesome. And as we're getting this, just a reminder with a lot of these discussions that we do, the views and opinions expressed by our guests are their own and don't necessarily reflect those of their employers. Scott, who are we talking to today?
We are talking with Carson Wilke from Relativity Space.
Yes.
Carson, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good today. It's a great day.
It is a great day.
And you are a launch mechanisms engineer. You're literally a rocket engineer.
I'm a rocket engineer, yes.
Awesome.
Yep, I get to work on moving components and all of the fun stuff, man.
Very, very cool. Well, Scott, I know you like to warm up the podcast.
We do and
our guest.
With a let's get weird question. Carson, Are you ready to get weird?
Let's get weird.
All right. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Yeah, I think I would endure those late nights in FSAE again for a Klondike bar.
Okay, nice.
Boy.
Yeah.
Also, follow-up question unrelated. What are your thoughts on Arizona green tea?
Arizona green tea is top tier. I go between that and your Japanese brands of green tea, depending on if I want to have a sugar crash or not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. First of all,
wait, I have another follow-up question.
Okay, go ahead.
When I'm a marketing major from college, and the first marketing class I had, the professor said, "This is easy. It's not rocket scientist. It's not rocket science. So you're literally the opposite of my education level." I did the easiest thing. You're doing one of the hardest. Anyway, we can get into it now. I just wanted you to know.
It's amazing. I use that phrase with my friends, and then my friends just look at me funny and they say, "Hey, you are a rocket scientist." Okay, I guess I am. I don't know. Sure.
Tell us just what is Relativity Space and what do you guys do over there?
Relativity Space is a company that wants to build the next great commercial launch vehicle and launch company, for that matter. We also are wanting to become the leading force for America in the additive manufacturing innovation. So what that all kind of boils down to is creating a long-term goal that is creating humanity's industrial base on Mars.
Okay, so you're going to Mars.
One of these days, yes.
Very cool. So what's your current role at Relativity Space, and can you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, my current role at Relativity Space is launch mechanisms engineer. What that really means is all the moving components that support the rocket to be able to launch this rocket. More specifically, I work on the quick disconnects for the vehicle. So it's the means to provide telemetry, commodities, and propellants to the vehicle. And then upon liftoff, we need to quickly disconnect from the rocket, get away from the rocket as it is lifting off and launching. So yeah, the day-to-day though is what really gets me, right? Is I get to design, analyze, and test all of this stuff in rapid iterations. So I get to work with a lot of colleagues, people smarter than me, that really push me to excellence, and I get to solve all of the fun technical problems that I know everyone here listening is always so keen to solve. So get to solve all of that, and then we always push for a fast testing iteration cycle. Understand your component, understand your hardware, understand your system. And so day to day, that kind of changes and evolves over time. Me specifically, I work on kind of these longer tenured projects. So, there's certain cycles where I'm behind the computer and I'm really designing all of this in our CAD software, analyzing this stuff, having that iteration loop. Then I'm going to go and release these components to then go and do all of our developmental testing, early system testing, and really understand how this mechanism in the system as a whole functions.
So tell us, how did your experience with Formula SAE help you stand out as a candidate to start your career with this company?
Oh, this is a great one. I love this question. Yeah. So ultimately, the short answer to that is I was hired by my design finals judge.
Oh,
Um, so yeah, we had a great team. We were able to go into design finals during our competition, and just the caliber of work that our team was producing, and all of the great engineers that we had, really caught the attention of some of our design finals judges, and ultimately, yeah, I was recruited. I went on and did an internship with Relativity Space under my design finals judge, and it really just kickstarted my career, and that's a testament to where I am today.
that's awesome. And it's a good little note for the students listening to respect everybody on site, because that person you're talking to could be the person who hires you. And since we're talking about FSAE and your time there, which school and team were you a part of, and how long did you compete?
Yeah, so I was a part of the Texas A&M Formula SAE team. So this was the class of 21. Whenever we hosted the competition at Vegas, Texas A&M approaches it different. So Texas A&M has a 1 year design cycle, a clean sheet of paper to a race car, and 1 year for a senior capstone design project. Um, so I did that. It was a 1 year experience. In tandem, near the end of that, I also, with a group of other engineers there at the university, kickstarted our Formula SAE EV program. So I was part of the founding crew. I was the project manager, and also was partially involved in the aero team for that team as well, with emphasis on the chassis and welding for the IC car.
So every year it's a new team, the seniors taking over and building a new car from scratch every year.
That's correct. Yeah.
Very impressive. And you said you were at the Vegas competition. Did you have any heat problems?
I did not personally, but I know that we were one person away from canceling the entire competition.
Yeah,
And
Wow.
our team specifically went to the gas station and bought cases of waters to give out to everyone.
okay.
We wanted to compete just like everyone else there, so we had to make sure all of our colleagues were hydrated from all the other schools too.
Yeah, that
Nice.
was, I think, my first Formula event.
Yeah.
And I remember shoes melting on the pavement,
Hmm.
Mike's camera melting.
Yeah. I was really worried about that. Like, we couldn't even pick up the tripod. It was so hot. If those don't know, it was like regularly 115 degrees
We moved the
every day.
the start time up to 5 a.m.
Yeah. And getting out of there by 2 p.m. before I got like the hottest. It never got below 90 the entire time we were out there. It was crazy.
But it gave us more time to party in Vegas.
There's
Isn't that right,
yes.
Carson?
Hey, yes. It was yeah, it's a crazy one to start your day at 100 degrees at 4 a.m.
It sure is.
So, of course, you talked a little bit about your role on the team already, and such. So, what was your favorite part about being on that Formula SAE team, aside from the heat in Vegas? I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the friends you make along the way. Um, that you have this ability to go and solve these really complex technical problems as a college student. You're making this student version of a Formula One car, and you get to approach it very similar to the F1 series, and how these prestigious engineers approach it, but more at a student version. And along that path, you really get to make some really good friends, lifelong friends, and colleagues that you're going to call across industry, because everyone kind of goes their separate ways, but they all build their expertise in these different areas, and really just boil down to the collaboration and all of the fun that came from solving these technical problems with people.
So you mentioned all the friends you made. Do you still keep in touch with any of your former teammates?
So I actually work with some of my former teammates. Some of us all came out to Relativity Space. We had other people go across industry, working for some of our competitors in industry, and are still working there, and have, some people have evolved to different roles, but ultimately we still have a group chat. We still talk. We still hang out every once in a while. We still have a plan one day to get back together at a local location for everyone to really get back to it. And yeah, funny enough, at the after 3 or 4 years, our team, Texas A&M Formula Racing, they'll end up selling the Formula cars. And this past year, one of our teammates that was nicknamed Sparky, as I'm sure a lot of people here are going to be able to attest to their own Sparky on their team, he was able to purchase our car. So kind of the totem pole and the light that we're pointing at is to be able to come and tinker on that car one day back at his place.
Nice.
Awesome. Do you have any favorite stories or memories from your time with that team that you're allowed to tell us?
Or the ones you can't tell us, we'll cut it out.
I have a lot of stories, but one particular is really just outlining the tenacity of our team. So we came into this with a really good plan. We had a really good project manager. She held us accountable for everything. She was super technical. The way we approach project manager is also pseudo chief engineer, right? So she was really pushing for spare parts. And we were able to be really diligent, really plan forward, and get through all of our technical inspections in a very quick timeline to be able to get to the track to get some early testing in first. All that to say, we got to the track, we got to shake it out, we got to scrub our tires a little bit. And then once we got back to the paddock, we decided to change our suspension setup. And lo and behold, we cross-threaded one of our suspension components. And so luckily, this was not during a critical time, but just seeing how everyone smoothly operated to, cut down, to tap some holes, to get inserts ready, to measure everything, and just without direction, everyone just jumped at the problem and efficiently solved it. Welded some more components and got it back on the car in about an hour and a half.
Gotta love that. You kind of touched this already. Are there any colleagues at Relativity Space who also have an SAE background? I know you said some from your team are there. Any from other teams that you know of?
Yeah, actually, Relativity Space is a pretty big boiling pot of all the different Formula teams. Formula really sets you up for industry. It really sets you up for some of our high tenets at Relativity, which is design, build, test, fly, insert, race, and that's effectively the tenets at the FSAE competitions. So we see an influx of Formula and FSAE people, and SAE for a larger matter, because I have a lot of Baja background on my local team as well at the company. That really gravitates towards Relativity because it's familiar, and they get to kind of lean on to all the fun times they had in their Formula competitions or their SAE competitions, and still get to just have fun day to day at the company.
Nice. It's like a SAE team, but on a much grander scale, and you get paid.
Exactly. Why would you not want to do it, right?
Right.
Yeah, one of my colleagues, Ryan Kraft, he's pretty well known around the SAE circuit, but the way he kind of described it is, we're effectively building the Formula One car for rockets now.
Nice.
So it's a bit of an upgrade from your Formula SAE circuit, and then moving on into the bigger and grander things, the more complex engineering problems.
For sure.
Is there anything you'd like to share about what it's like working for an aerospace company coming from Formula SAE? Aerodynamics is obviously a very important part of the Formula SAE design. We've had other podcasts talking about aero and materials and things like that, even on this feed. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on the pipeline of Formula SAE to aerospace industry. And that experience and what that's been like for you.
Yeah, it's an established pipeline. It's historically, at Relativity, there's a pretty big draw to come work at Relativity coming from SAE events. We hold all the different aspects of engineering as a whole. So there's pockets where you get to solve all of the fun problems for each of their respective organizations or disciplines within the engineering org. So if you were an aerodynamics person on the Formula team, there's a whole aerodynamics, aerothermal team that gets to go solve really complex and hard problems for rockets. Ultimately, it's just a different problem statement, and you get to still rely on all of your first principle physics to get you to the end goal.
And so you've been recently helping out with judging the FSAE competition. What aspects of the competitions do you judge, and how long have you been judging?
Yeah, so I've been helping with the SES, the structural equivalency spreadsheets. So making sure that all of these cars that come into the competition are structurally viable, such that we don't have any premature failures, and ultimately are just robust to the race. And then going into that, I've been able to shadow some of the really well-known people in the events as kind of a junior judge, if you will. And then this year is my first year as a full-time judge. Specifically to what I judge, I live in the mechanisms and structural world. I can touch a little bit on some of the different aspects of this car, just because I was able to learn and grow on all the other aspects. But specifically, I'm really looking for the design, build, and test aspects of this car. I really like seeing teams that approach the structural design and the vehicle kinematics to then go design this, to validate it, to analyze it, and then ultimately get this car on the track and start testing it.
Have you ever judged your former teams, your former school's car?
I have not, just because of working with some of them, just for judging bias, right? Like making sure that that's not present, and that's a pretty good thing across the industry, and across the judges too. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah. So I haven't judged their cars, but I've been a part of some of their design reviews.
So, what did bring you back to Formula SAE as a judge? Was there a particular reason that drove you to support in this capacity?
I think ultimately it just boils down to Formula gave me so much, and I want to give back to Formula, and I want to give back to these younger engineers that are coming into industry. Uh, yeah, so I really want to see these engineers excel. I want to give them and equip them with the tools and resources to be able to go get that first job, to be able to interview well, and to be able to really just knock the technical interviews out of the park. So supporting FSAE really just is able to solve both of those in tandem.
Since graduation, have you been back to the FSE events in person as either a judge or a sponsor or any other capacity?
I've gone back every year.
Okay.
I can't get enough of it. So I go back as a co-sponsor and SES or judge. I like to show up and support FSAE, but also I'm supporting my company, who is sponsoring with money for the event to FSAE, and also looking to connect these students to be able to find their first job coming out of college.
What events this year are you going or have been to?
Yeah, so unfortunately this year I was not able to go to the IC competition, but I am going to be at the EV competition. So yeah, you'll see me in the booth for the structural equivalency. You're going to see me walking around the judging paddock for both the normal day of judging as well as the design finals, and you'll also be able to catch me at the booth with Relativity. We have a group of engineers and recruiters of the like that are definitely eager to connect with these students.
Awesome. Keep an eye out for Carson on site. And what is Relativity Space goal there?
Yeah, Relativity's goal is to be able to support FSAE and SAE competitions, and also to come in and hire. We want to support the students through giving them the experience of technical interviews, giving them access to engineers in their respective disciplines to be able to talk about designs, really be able to dig in deep on what they did for this SAE event and be able to get feedback from that. And then, yeah, just connect them with some industry experts that would also look at them to hire, because currently Relativity is looking to hire a lot of people in this year.
All right, be sure to check out that booth, everyone.
Well, it's been really cool to see, your path, your career path that's come from Formula SAE in this position where you're at. And I'm sure you'll expend some knowledge when you're with us at Formula EV here coming up. And I think it's actually this week, depending on when this podcast drops. Do you have any advice for those students out there, designing their car, getting into it at the competition, from your experience that you think would be really helpful?
I think team dynamics are the biggest aspect in this. Having a functioning team, and being able to just have fun with your colleagues. At the end of the day, that's what keeps me doing what I do. I get to have fun every day working for Relativity. I was able to have fun every day working with my colleagues, building a formula car, and just having that team dynamic and that team culture that really just builds on that and lets you dig really deep in all of the technical stuff. That really just shows to everyone that's on the outside looking and judging your car and seeing how your team functions.
I'll just say you can't build a race car on your own, It's a team sport.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Carson, thank you so much for taking the time with us here today for this podcast. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Scott.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
having
This
me
was a
on.
blast. Rocket pun, sort of.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go buy an Arizona green tea now.
Oh. Well, in the meantime, guys, if you're out there in competition in the middle of the season, afterwards, wherever you're catching this, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We got plenty of stuff coming up here, and make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube so you do get the updates of CDS Action News. Again, I know it's towards the end of the season by the time you guys are listening to this, or further down. But at least you'll have that for when all the information does come up, and you can keep tabs, so you can go back and
we have more content coming throughout the year.
More content throughout the year. The live streams, you can go back and see how those went and look for your favorite car, your favorite team, your old school, anybody else you're looking out for as part of that across many of the competitions now. And of course, make sure you've downloaded your app for the competition that you're involved in on your Android or iPhone, and subscribe to the podcast feed for this as well, wherever you get your podcasts. If it ain't showing up somewhere, let us know. We'll take care of it. We know that there's new providers popping up all the time on the podcast side, but we're on the main ones like your YouTube Music and your Apple Podcasts and things like that. So
are we on Spotify?
We're probably on Spotify. I'm pretty sure we're on Spotify. Don't quote me right now, but I'll check it after this recording. So then double check on that. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Until next time, please stay safe out there. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Competition, the SAE University Programs podcast. Show notes for this episode can be found at beyondthecompetition.fireside.fm. Remember to stay tuned for updates on your competition's newsfeed or app, and follow SAE_University Programs on TikTok and Instagram. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next episode.